Welcome to the CrossFit Max podcast.
Boom! What is going on, everybody? And thank you for tuning in to another episode. I got Little T with me, and he wants to say hello also. And we're stoked that you tuned on to this episode. Guys, we are going to give you the blueprint to get into the best shape of your life before summer. If you follow these steps, it won't disappoint you. So we hope that you enjoy it, and let's get right into it. 3, 2, 1, we're in it.
Win it.
What's up, folks?
He's back.
I'm back. Wow, what an episode last week was with Ashley.
Yeah, it was a good one.
What was your experience like interviewing Ashley throughout that process?
It was very easy, smooth, fun. It was very enlightening.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I had 1 gazillion more things I wanted to ask her or talk about with her, but I was like, we're somewhat trying to keep this podcast at a reasonable length. But yeah, it was just like super interesting. I feel that she was extremely vulnerable, so I was touched that she trusted me to be the one to do the interview. And
You're saying she wouldn't have trusted me?
Yeah, she specifically said, like, I'll only do it, but not with Brandon. Those were her words, not mine.
Those were her words,
yeah. Not true. That's a joke. No. I just mean that.
Yeah, I know what you meant. I was just teasing. It's very brave of her to come on the podcast and discuss that type of stuff and be open and.
Yeah, it's very personal, and I didn't want her to feel like it was like the most interesting thing about her, because I think it's a super cool thing, but I didn't want it to be like just about that, you know, like her CrossFit journey is also a super interesting part of her relationship to us. And so I wanted to make sure that we weren't just only talking about her Tourette's.
Yeah.
So I think I did a good job of.
Yeah, you did a great job interviewing her. She did a really good job opening up, and
she was amazing.
It's always very different when someone throws a mic in your face and tells you to just talk. But we try to make it as stress-free as possible and try to make it as conversational as possible. Yeah,
and I feel like my experience now, I've had 3 guests. I've interviewed 3 people. Mm-hmm. I feel that everybody just takes a little bit of warming up. Mm-hmm. Usually like the second half of the episode, they've kind of forgotten that we're recording and they're sort of talking more freely. And yeah, it's really fun.
It is cool. Yeah, we have banter topic. We're obviously discussing Ashley here, which that was an amazing episode. If you haven't listened to it yet,
go back 1
episode and give that a listen. That was really cool. And yeah, this banter topic, we're just going to talk about all the upcoming things. Susie's yawned like 8,000 times in this 2 minutes that we've...
sorry. I do want to say that it's Brandon's fault that I'm yawning, because he was talking about yawning, and then I just came on to me, and I wasn't yawning before that. So it's like one of those words, like I bet if you're listening to this in the car, you're yawning now because I'm saying the word so much.
Nope, because people are waking up well rested and ready to start the day here. But yeah, it is kind of late. We're doing a kitchen podcast because freaking parents are always traveling around here.
Honestly, I hate this for my parents. Like,
they're retired. Well, one is retired, one is still very hard at work. But
I just feel like it's very selfish of them to be traveling all the time. It's actually so fucked up. If you're listening, mom and dad, it's time that you stay in freaking Montreal for a little bit, because I'm sick of being just 2 parents to this child. Okay, this grandchild needs his grandparents.
Well, yeah, we're going to banter topic, all the fun things upcoming at the gym.
Yes.
In the next few months.
Yes.
One of them being interviewing some other people in the podcast. I think that would be really cool.
Oh, did you have someone in mind?
I had someone in mind.
Should we not say? Because
no, we're definitely not going to call it on the podcast here, but I for sure want to have several conversations with people.
Like, do you want to do them, or is it for me?
Just, hey, Suze, I have a really good idea. You should interview this person and this person and this person for the next 3 weeks. No,
wouldn't shock me.
No, for sure. I have some people I would like to interview. I think we should have conversations with others. And, you know, if you're listening to this podcast and you think it would be cool for you to hop on. We would love for you to come up to us and let us know that you'd love to be on, and we'll definitely
we'll take volunteers.
We'll plug you in the schedule and make it happen, because there's so many incredible people in our gym, and their stories are just fun to listen to.
Absolutely.
And sometimes from an CrossFit affiliate owner perspective, I go back and forth in my head on this marketing the gym, where we want to show like, hey, anyone and everyone can do this. Come to our gym. And, we'll meet you where you're at. And these things are all true. And anyone could do CrossFit, any age, any limitations you might have. Anyone can do CrossFit.
I feel a but coming.
No buts. However, and, I want to finish that by saying, by doing that, we showcase that people in our gym are, the normal person. They're not.
I see where you're
they're
going
not
with
a
this.
high level. What's the word? Collegiate athlete. Is that the word? Collegiate? No.
Well, if
Anyways,
we were a university, yes, but it's
that's what I'm saying. Like,
right
we're not talking about like someone who did this at a high level football elite player in college and then started CrossFit, or hockey and then started CrossFit. We're just everyday people who are just trying to focus on our health. However,
I was like, you've lost me now. Where are we going with this?
Where I'm going with this is
everyone special.
Everyone in our gym is not the average person. Everyone in our gym is a badass athlete at the same time.
Correct.
Everyone
but,
in the gym,
they were average when they walked in. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. They were average. They were a bunch of losers when they walked in, and then we fixed them with CrossFit. I'm just kidding.
I hope the people listening know that Susie is absolutely joking right now.
I'm full on kidding. Okay, yeah. Everyone is super special.
This is it. This is the
internal debate.
The internal conflict I have is like, I want to show the world that anyone can do CrossFit, and that's true. But I also want to show the world that, hey, the people that are in our gym are fucking badass athletes who take care of their health, who lift weights, who focus on eating the right foods, and they're not the average person. So
I think that those two things can be true at the same time, because I think that the anyone can do CrossFit doesn't mean that the average person will do CrossFit.
Oh, exactly. Yeah. Well, that's the difference between everyone and anyone, right?
Correct.
But anyways, I went on this tangent. Why did I go on this tangent? Why were we talking? Oh yeah, because there's a lot of freaking awesome athletes in our gym
that we want to get on the pod.
Some really cool stories that we would love to put on the podcast to share to the world, like Ashley, like Nicole.
We just have the best members in the world.
Yeah, we do. So I want to showcase that a little bit more in the next few months. We have 2 new classes that we've started at CrossFit Max, and we had our one of them, our very first one just now. Like, I literally just got home from the gym coaching it, and that was our functional bodybuilding class. That was a vibe. Like, that 7 p.m. class was hot.
So
cool.
You gave the first edition of CrossFit Max's functional bodybuilding class with Daphne, right? You were co-coaching with Coach Daphne.
Yep.
If you are listening to this and you're like, what the heck is that? What does that mean? I'm sure some of our clients are listening and they're like, I didn't sign up because I don't know what that is. And for all the other people who are lining up to join our gym, they need to know.
Yeah, so functional bodybuilding comes from, the idea comes from Marcus Philly. So his company is actually branded functional bodybuilding.
Love it. Is he going to come for us?
What's that?
Are we allowed to call our class functional bodybuilding?
Yeah, for sure. It's not
franchise
like a franchise or
okay,
anything.
got it.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So functional bodybuilding, his methodology is combining the functionality of movement with bodybuilding principles. So if you don't know who Marcus Philly is, I think he was a 5 times CrossFit Games athlete, maybe even did a little bit more than that. So
many years ago.
Yeah, many years ago. He was at the early stages of the CrossFit Games, and I think the best he finished was 6th place. I think that was his best year. And anyways, he grew up loving bodybuilding and then eventually got into CrossFit, competed at a very high level in CrossFit. And then after CrossFit, he loved the methodology of CrossFit, but he also really loved the principles of bodybuilding. So this is where he combined both of those ideas together to create functional bodybuilding. A little bit of a difference between, let's just say, CrossFit. We do like a lot of high skill movements like clean and jerks and snatches, and we'll even throw gymnastics in there, right? And functional bodybuilding kind of uses the same principles and functionality, meaning squatting.
Yeah, like things that apply to your daily life, picking stuff up, putting it down, deadlifting, pressing, stuff like that.
Yeah, so less of the, I don't want to, like, I guess it's higher skill movements and more of like the principles of like a barbell press versus a barbell jerk, right?
Right. Back to like more basics.
Yeah. And
like
there's
effective basics.
Yeah. And then there's also a bigger emphasis on muscular failure, like the intensity being muscular rather than, let's just say, your heart rate or your lungs not being able to keep up.
I see.
Right. So we did like a Metcon to finish it, but the intensity of the conditioning piece wasn't the factor. It was more the intensity of your arms giving out being the factor.
Got it. So you're really focusing on training the muscles.
Yeah. And then I've really, in the actual CrossFit programming at CrossFit Max, I've taken some of the philosophies around and used like tempo, for example. Like that's a very bodybuilding principle. Having a 3-1 X1 tempo. Today we did dips, bench press, and tricep push downs with some bands as our strength component. And on the dips, I added a tempo of 3-1 X1. So it was very cool. Controlling the eccentric part, going down, really getting a big stretch in that muscles. And then from there, pausing at the bottom and then pressing out. And then pair that up with some heavy dumbbell bench press, and then pair it up with like a high volume amount of tricep push downs, and you're going to get a lovely upper body pump from that. So it's kind of combining the CrossFit with the bodybuilding.
It's a very good complement to your CrossFit training. If you're somebody who wants to like get your first pull up and stuff like that in CrossFit training and the functional bodybuilding to like build up the muscular strength required to do so is going to be beneficial.
Yeah. So FBB started at CrossFit Max on Mondays at 7 p.m. We also have the Persist class, Project Persist.
Love this
Which is Susie's favorite class of the week, which is an endurance class that is long and hard. Think High Rock style, but it's different than our cardio and cardio. Our cardio and cardio is the one aerobic piece that we have in the week where it's lower intensity, longer workout. Project Persist is meant to be a longer workout, but much higher intensity.
Right.
So that class has been a fun addition to the Wednesday nights. And we're looking at expanding the schedule a little bit here and there and kind of playing around with these classes that people are liking.
We've got some really exciting things coming up that we're not going to tell you about right now, but you can get excited about.
Yeah. And then today we literally just dropped our Turn Up the Heat competition, which is our CrossFit competition.
Registration is officially open.
Yeah, which is our big CrossFit competition we host every year during the summertime. So it is July 5th. It's teams of 2, male and female, and it's one category, one division.
Could Metis be like a guy and I could be a girl?
Unfortunately not.
Boo. What if I be the guy?
No.
Okay, just checking.
But yeah, so it's male, female, partner. And there's just one division, one category. So it's open, like the open, where I'm going to release the RX workout. And then I'll also follow it up with a scaled version. And all those who choose the RX version will finish higher than all those who choose the scaled version. And I try to program it with the intention of everyone being able to do the RX version as best as possible, where it still allows the more the higher level, advanced, elite athletes to
showcase their skills,
showcase it, and then also not just make it so far-fetched that, the more intermediate athletes can't do the workout.
Right.
Or have to scale the workout, I should say.
It's more about like community participation. Obviously, it's competitive.
It's definitely about competing. Screw the fun rainbows and butterflies.
I mean, you're speaking my language.
This is a competition for sure.
I was getting there.
Sorry, I interrupted you there. Tell us more about the sunshine and rainbows.
No, it's all
with
good.
The big sun in the air, turning up the heat. This is a real comp, and we're gonna have some cool sponsors. We have some things that we'll be announcing in the next few weeks that are gonna make this event even more exciting.
I'm pumped.
And yeah, July 5th. Get your partners.
I need a partner.
If you're a dude looking to partner with Susie for the competition only, then make sure you reach out and make sure you get your partners and sign up for that. Yeah. All right. Was that good enough for the banter? Did I miss anything there?
I don't know. Seems good to me.
Seems good? All right.
I feel like we touched a lot of topics.
We're 6 weeks out. 6 weeks out from summertime.
Summertime.
On this day of recording the episode.
And today is May 5th.
Yeah. So June 21st.
Cinco de Mayo. I was like, there's something about this day.
Yeah, we're not even having any tacos. What the hell? But yeah, so 6 weeks out from summer. And usually during this time, people want to get into wanting to get into better shape. They also maybe want to lose a little bit of weight, look a little better, lean out a bit.
Shorts weather, bikini weather.
Yeah. Or shirt off weather if you're a dude.
Tank top weather.
Tank top weather also, or shirt on if you're a dude.
or a girl.
Or girl.
Take your shirt off.
Yeah.
Free the nipple. Fuck the patriarchy. I'm going to find a way to put that into every episode moving forward.
But yeah, so typically during this time, people want to start looking towards shedding a few pounds and looking a little bit more toned for the summertime.
Love it. Hot mom summer loading.
We dropped a blog in our community group, and we're going to announce this pretty much to the entire world here. And we're going to go into a little bit more depth here, but we're going to give the blueprint for you to get into the best shape of your life, either before summer starts, before it even gets here, or as summer arrives and you're going to hopefully be in the best shape, feeling the fittest you ever felt, looking the best, feeling the best in your own clothes, your own skin, and all that stuff.
Your energy, your skin, your everything.
Tell them.
Oh,
and everything.
Can't wait.
More everything. That's the stuff.
Your relationships.
So first thing, it's super important. Anytime we want to, let's say, quote unquote, have a goal or an objective or something in mind, we gotta clear that goal up. So we gotta know what we're looking for here, because let's just say I want to be in shape is not necessarily
specific
enough. So having that goal in mind, whether that's an
behavioral goal.
What's the other one?
Outcome goal.
That's the word I was looking for. Whether it's an outcome goal or a behavior goal, you gotta choose one. So outcome being, I want to lose 8 pounds in the next 6 to 8 weeks. I want to fit in size 32 jeans. That was a guy measurement. I don't know what that could be for girls.
It's like pretty much the same. Like I feel like jeans like 20, 26.
Oh, that's how it works?
6, 27.
Okay, I wasn't sure.
Same.
Okay. It could be behavioral, right? Meaning, hey, I've been flip-floppy, inconsistent with my training for the last few months. I really want to make sure I'm going to be working out X amount of times each week, no matter what happens.
Do you think one type of goal is more effective than the other, or it's case by case? Or both?
I think behavioral goals lead you to outcome goals, Outcome goals are the end, and they help with
Motivation?
motivation, a little bit of direction, but behavioral goals
We're going to give you the stepping stones.
Yeah, I always give you the stepping stones.
So probably your best bet is to have an outcome goal and then some behavioral goals that will get you there.
Exactly.
Got it.
Outcome goal, I want to lose 8 pounds in 8 weeks.
Is that you? Do you want to lose 8 pounds? I feel like that's a lot.
In 8 weeks? A pound a week?
No, for you.
Oh,
is that
no.
your goal? You keep saying it.
No, it's just hypothetical.
Random.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No,
I was like, whoa, Brandon, 8 pounds. Like, you're going to disappear.
Yeah, no, I definitely do not want to lose 8 pounds. So 8 pounds, 8 weeks. Let's just hypothetically
Hypothetical.
say that would be your goal.
Imaginary person. Yeah.
That's your outcome goal. So then the behavioral goals are going to help direct you towards there.
Yes. Like working out 4 times per week.
All the other stuff in the blueprint that we're going to give.
Okay.
All right.
Don't jump the gun. Got it.
So having that goal is going to be the first and most important thing. And also when you're feeling less motivated, it's going to allow you to keep thinking back to that goal here. So that's blueprint 1. Number 2, you got to fuel your body properly, right? You got to fuel it with the right foods. The harder your goal is, the more strict you have to be. If you want to lose 8 pounds in 8 weeks, that's less strict than, hey, I want to lose 12 to 16 pounds in the next 8 weeks. And I don't want to discourage anyone from setting a goal that's either someone might think too easy or even too hard. Any goal that you set your mind to can be achievable. Mm-hmm. But after that, you have to ask yourself, how strict am I willing to be to get myself? Because losing 8 pounds in 8 weeks is very different than losing 12 to 16 pounds in 8 weeks.
The behaviors that come with that are going to be different.
Exactly. So fueling your body appropriately is going to be extremely important. So we always preach the 80 to 90% rule, right? Be strict 80 to 90% of the time. And I'm giving the range of 80 to 90% because if your goal is really on the more aggressive side, then you got to be 90%
95.
here, right? If your goal is has a little bit of wiggle room, even 80% is a solid number to be good on. So what is 80%? Well, 80% means I got to be eating mostly whole foods, mostly real foods that are not packaged together and put together, that have a big ingredient list. And when you look down or when you look at that nutrition label, well, first of all, you see there's a nutrition label. And then second, you see that there's a list of 20 different things within that food, let's just say, right?
Yeah. When you
eat an apple,
it's an apple.
It's an apple, right? If you're eating granola, you're probably looking at several ingredients in that package of granola. Right?
Yeah. Instead, you could eat like oatmeal, which is a little bit
exactly with
more
the ingredients of oats is oats, right? So you want to minimize the amount of processed food by a lot, and again, we're thinking like 10 to 20% allowing, right? So more strict you are, the less processed foods you have to consume. The less strict you are, the more you can have a little bit of wiggle with that percent, right? So most of your food has to come from whole foods. Second thing is you want to prioritize protein at each meal.
Get your proteins.
Every single meal, you need to have a protein item or food article in
Focus.
it, right? So if you're looking at your plate and you can't identify the protein, then you're doing it wrong, right? If you're looking down on your plate and you're eating toast with peanut butter on it, that is not a good enough breakfast to help you get towards your goal. You need to get some eggs on there. You need to get some meat on there. You need to get some Greek yogurt on there.
Cottage cheese.
You need to have a protein shake, right? Rather than just a fruit smoothie.
Yeah.
You know, you got to get steak on your plate, or you got to get ground beef. You got to have a chicken breast. You got to have sweet potatoes. You got to, Oh, sweet potatoes are carbs. What am I thinking here?
Baby cakes, you're a little delulu this evening. But before
I was just thinking about like how good sweet
sweet
potatoes.
potatoes are with steak.
Oh, yeah.
Brandon was just building his ideal plate. He's like, and sweet potatoes, and you gotta get whatever else you eat with steak.
That was so funny. Anyways, prioritize protein at each
Everyone's out here
meal.
eating sweet potatoes. Get my protein.
So hungry right now. We
And
decided,
your steak is sitting right there. You're
we
just
decided to
staring
film,
at it.
record this podcast before I ate supper. That was a bad idea. But
And
anyways,
I made him a beautiful steak.
prioritize your protein at every single meal. This will help you build muscle. This will help keep you
Stay
fuller.
full.
This will help you
Reduce snacking.
recover from your workouts, reduce cravings, get protein on your plate. It's a must. All right. Other thing for food is you want to, well, we've kind of talked about processed food, but you really want to limit the amount of like processed sugar and alcohol. So try to avoid eating excessive amounts of sugar, and especially if your goal is weight loss, you really gotta be mindful about the amount of alcohol you're consuming, especially during the weekdays. If you have a normal work week, there shouldn't be any reason why you're drinking alcohol on the weekdays.
Right.
Don't drink that glass of wine at a supper. If you don't have to, grab a glass of water.
Or bubbly.
Bubbly, yeah. Susie's been into the big
I
big
feel like
into the
it's
bubblies
like
right now.
the bubbly water, flavored water. So if you don't have bubbly, like it's just like fizzy flavored water. It just makes it feel like a fun drink without being any caloric impact or sugar.
Yeah.
No sugar.
Yeah. And then just last thing on the food is just practice mindful eating, right? So what does that mean? That means chewing your food more. That helps with better digestion. Putting your fork down in between bites, so
Right.
not just like gulping things down, right? And just shoving food into your mouth. Try not to have screens on so you can actually build a connection with your food
And your stomach.
and your stomach, your gut, so your gut can communicate to your brain. I know that might seem weird for someone who watches TV or something on your phone, but try to be more present. If you're with your family, try to have conversations at dinner time with your family, and try not to go for the screens immediately.
Yeah.
So
Really good advice.
really important, if you have goals to be in the best shape of your life, or you have aesthetic goals to look a certain way, to lose a little bit of weight, you really, really, really have to dial this in. It's a must, right? We talk about like abs being
Made in the kitchen.
made in the kitchen. Abs are built in the gym. They're not made in the kitchen, but they are revealed in the kitchen, right?
I see.
So you need to really dial in your nutrition, because if you're not doing your nutrition, it doesn't matter how much exercise
Sit-ups
you're
you're
doing,
doing,
you cannot
yeah.
out-train a bad diet.
Okay.
That's number 2. Number 3, train with intention and intensity.
Yes.
So this is really important. We talked about this in some of our podcasts, whether in the beginner, in the intermediate or advanced podcast.
We did.
But if you want to get results, you're no longer a
Beginner.
a newbie at CrossFit,
Right.
you have to start actually bringing purpose around your training. So that means pushing harder limits on your conditioning pieces, right? Going to places that are higher fatigue levels,
Right.
where your muscles are hurting, your heart rate gets really up there, right? When you're doing strength components, go almost to muscle failure.
Yes.
Right? I talked about that in the bodybuilding class today. If you really want to build muscle, you have to do 2 really important things. Number 1, you got to put your muscles under stress, hence why we do resistance training, whether that's body weight, squats or pull-ups, or whether that's weightlifting with barbells or dumbbells or medicine balls and all resistance bands, right? So you got to put your muscles under stress. And number 2, you got to push at hard effort levels. So hard effort levels, if you really want to build muscle, you got to get to points of almost failure, if not failure. If I were to grab 10-pound dumbbells and I were just to press for 10 reps, that would give me almost zero strength benefits. My muscles would not work very hard at all to press those.
You're so jacked.
That being said, if I were to grab 40-pound dumbbells and I were to press for 10 reps, by rep
still 9, no benefit.
No.
Give me those 70s.
By rep 9 and rep 10, I'm going to be really struggling, if not getting to a point of failure towards that 10th rep. And you have to put your muscles under that intense stress to really build muscle. So if you're someone who's just going to the gym and just checking off the box, right, you got to bring it to the next level, especially like we said earlier. If your goal is even more strict, then you got to bring even more intensity.
Yep.
The other thing for training is you got to be consistent, right? You got to be consistent. If you really want to build the best training schedule, you got to be in the gym at least 4 days per week.
Right.
This is a must if you have a goal to get into the best shape of your life. 4 times is the standard at a minimum, right? If you're doing less than that, then you have to really ask yourself, how do I get that extra session,
hour in my week?
Yeah. And then for outside activity, because just the reality is that most people are like more sedentary and sitting down often, you have to be getting more steps in. Right. The goal is minimum 7,000 steps per day. Yeah. You need to be walking more. So that could be parking your car a little bit further and then taking more steps, right? That could be right after a lunch, go for a 10, 15-minute walk around the block. Yeah. That could be, taking your kids out for a walk, family walk after supper time.
That's a good one.
Taking the stairs. Shout out to Jess for taking those stairs, right?
Yeah,
instead of taking the elevator or even the escalator in some cases, taking the stairs and getting your steps in and walking up, walking down, right? So overall activity has got to be bumped up as well. Yeah. Number 4, the most underrated, and that is prioritize sleep. Yes. Sleeping and recovery is really underrated, and we don't talk about this enough, but this is what allows us to get that 4th session in the gym or that 5th session in the week, right? That allows us to bring the intensity up. That allows us to rest and feel good and want to train.
Yeah,
and want
motivation.
Want to make better decisions in the kitchen.
I agree. I feel like when I'm not sleeping well, I am not motivated to eat well either. And then you sort of end up in a spiral.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like your cravings go up and everything.
Your cravings go up, like a lack of motivation to work out. And you just sort of end up in a loop of bad choices.
Mm-hmm. So sleep hours, the goal is 7 to 9 hours per night. How do you get that? Well, number 1, set like a bedtime routine. Mm-hmm. So most people just set an alarm to wake up in the morning, but not enough people set like an actual bedtime routine. So set up a bedtime routine where there's some sort of wind down.
Yeah, like a process.
Yeah, there's a process. And for me, that's even hours before bedtime. Mm-hmm. It starts with turning off all extra lights.
Big lights.
Yeah. So that could be hallway lights that are just unnecessarily on. That could be the kitchen light that's on. That could be maybe you have lamps in your house in the corner and stuff. Turn those things off. Bathroom lights. Turn off all the excessive lights, because our circadian rhythm works when light is lower, then we start to produce melatonin. So if there's a lot of light inside our home and then we have to go from a lot of light
to like bedtime,
yeah, it's really hard for our system to
snap into sleep mode.
Yeah, exactly. So number 1 is, for improving your sleep quality, is making sure you turn off all the extra lights. The other thing is you want to make sure your room is really dark as you can possibly make it. So if you have the opportunity to have like blackout curtains, don't have any extra lights here and there, like make your room as dark as possible.
Yep.
And then
cool.
And cool, yeah. So that's the last thing, is making sure that your bedroom is really cool. And I'll have this conversation with a lot of people quite often, actually. And I'll say, like, what's your bedroom temperature? And they're like, I don't know. And I'm like, okay, well, like, let's check it out. And then they'll tell me it's quite hot. They'll be like, oh, well, it's 22, 23 degrees. And I'm like, that's like really warm. Our bodies need a cool bedroom for us to be able to fall asleep, and the goal is to have it between 18 to 20 degrees Celsius. So you really want your
then you can get all snuggly under the covers.
yeah, but our body temperature, like our core temperature, actually needs to decrease for us to fall asleep.
Right.
So if the bedroom is already hot, it's going to be really hard for us to fall asleep. So making sure that our bedroom is really cool, 18 to 20 degrees. If you can control, if you have full control over your bedroom, then make it cold. In the wintertime, it's easier because you can just pretty much open up your window.
That's crazy.
Yeah. What?
Opening your window in wintertime?
No, I mean to just get the temperature.
To just drop it a bit and then close that shit right back up.
Yeah, exactly. Don't.
Oh my God. Open, I was like, Jesus Christ, Brennan, you are literally a heat salamander in the summer. There's no way we're sleeping with our window open in the winter.
Yeah, no, what I mean is we've done that before where it's been like really hot.
Just like crack it for a sec.
Yeah, just crack it open for a little bit.
Yeah, because we live in an apartment and everyone around us heats for us, and then it gets hot in here.
Yeah. And then during the summertime, it could be a little bit hotter, but a lot of people do have ACs. So just, setting the temperature a little bit cooler. And if you're lucky enough to have it in your room to be able to actually control your bedroom, then from there, bring it down between 18 to 20 degrees. And yeah, pretty much the better you recover, the harder you can train. So that is number 4.
Yep.
Number 5 is get accountability and support. Now, in our community, we have tons of support, whether that's through the coaches, whether that's through the amazing community members,
friends, partners, spouses.
Talk to your close ones. Keep your inner circle involved in the process, right? If you have an objective of losing 8 pounds in 8 weeks, and you don't tell your boyfriend, right? And well, how are they supposed to know? Maybe they might be like, oh, let's just go get a pizza on a Friday night. But you're trying really hard to not do that. But by not having that conversation of, hey, well, actually, I'm trying to lose a little bit of weight before the summer. Just having that conversation with your inner circle, with the community members around, with your coaches. Don't be shy to go up to a coach and say, hey, coach, like I'm really trying to lose X amount of weight. I've been working with a few people on their nutrition the last few weeks, and just having that conversation with them and diving into their nutrition and their check-ins. It's been a really fun process. So, our community is pretty awesome, but if you're listening to this podcast and you don't quite have that community with you, get a training buddy. Like it's one of the best things that you can do is just having someone in your life that you guys are going to feed off of each other, right? When you're feeling a little bit lower on the motivation, then hopefully they bring you up. And then when they're feeling a little bit low, you bring them up.
Right.
Right. So have that accountability partner or community member and just build a tight circle that's going to help bring you up rather than pulling you down.
And it's also an added benefit because hopefully you'll bring up the people around you as well. And the more people taking care of their health and making their health a priority, the better. So maybe you can be someone else's inspiration.
For sure. Yeah. And then when people see this or see you pushing till muscular failure on your dips,
it's very impressive.
Yeah. And then they're going to be like, oh shit, like, okay. Like I have to do that now.
Yeah. It's like contagious.
Yeah. It is super
contagious.
Effort
is contagious for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's number 5. And I think that's a big one. And the last thing, number 6 to the blueprint here is celebrating the small wins. What I mean by that is oftentimes when we set these goals, we want it now. True. I want to lose 8 pounds now, like yesterday, right?
This is like so me.
I'm going to start cleaning up my nutrition. I'm going to start training really hard. And then you get on the scale after a week of doing it right, and you lose half a pound, right? And you're like, wow, what the hell? Like, I did 1 week. How did I not lose more than half a pound?
Right.
But you did lose half a pound. So we're on the right pathway, right? And you got to make sure you celebrate that. You got to celebrate, oh shit, like I did work out 4 times this week. Oh shit, okay, I did lose half a pound.
Right.
Oh, I was drinking more water, right? Oh, you know what? I got some really good sleep this week. Man, my productivity at work has been through the freaking roof this week.
Yep.
So you gotta celebrate the small wins and also be patient with yourself. I know, the more aggressive the goal is, like I said, the more strict you have to be. So reflect in a positive way. If you didn't quite get the goal you wanted, let's just say, then like ask yourself, did I really like push as hard as I could have this week? Did I make the right choices to not have that glass of wine with my friends on the Tuesday night when we went out, right? Did I choose to eat the toast and peanut butter with sweet potatoes rather than eating eggs and a banana on my morning, right? Did I choose to eat the lean chicken breast or grilled chicken breast rather than getting the chicken parmesan, right? So it's those decisions that you have to ask yourselves, and then along the process, like celebrate those wins. Like, oh yeah, I went to the restaurant and I chose not to have that glass of wine. I chose to just drink water instead, right? Oh, that one night where my partner wanted to watch a movie late at night, I actually said, you know what, like I'm good. I'm going to go to bed a little bit earlier and catch up on some sleep here because this week was stressful for work or whatever. And now I feel great on Saturday. And then I hit Saturday's training session like a savage. I went full out there, right? So celebrating those wins, being patient with yourself, and then just, being realistic and asking yourself the tough questions and enjoying the process. That's the main thing.
I love it. Should we do a recap?
You want to do the recap or you want me to recap?
I'm going to recap because you're the one with the notes, so it'll be way more impressive when I recap.
Do it.
Okay, first things first, you got to set a goal. Second thing, you got to dial in your nutrition.
100%.
Third thing.
No, 90%.
Eat your sweet potatoes.
Sweet potatoes are great.
Third thing was minimum 4 times of training per week. Was it?
Yeah.
Did I skip one?
Bring some intensity. And intention to your training.
Intensity and intention. Minimum 4 days a week to your training.
Yeah.
And the fourth thing was sleep better.
Yeah. Underrated sleep.
The fifth thing was get a buddy.
Accountability.
And the sixth thing was
celebrate small wins.
Celebrate the wins.
That's it.
Boom. Mic drop.
That's the recap. All right, we're going to end the podcast the same way we do every week with client of the week.
Pew, 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 pew.
And this client came to me a few weeks ago wanting to work on their nutrition.
Yes.
And have been just running through this blueprint and absolutely killing it.
Attacking it.
She's been a joy to have in the group classes, although today she yawned many, many times.
Don't say the word. We just stopped.
And I was like, come on, why are we yawning? No, honestly, she's brought a lot of fun to our consultations and our discussions of her nutrition. And she's also brought a lot more energy to her workouts, which is really cool to see.
Attacking them
and
with intensity.
Intensity, intention. And she's been crushing it.
Love it.
She's on the right path here. And that client is Liv.
Yay, go Olivia.
So keep up the good work, Liv. It's been really fun to work on your nutrition with you. It's been really fun to see your progress in this very, very short time.
And she's killing it.
Keep the ball rolling here. We're on fire. And that being said, we hope that all of you guys are ready to get in the best shape of your life before summer starts. And hopefully
throughout summer,
we don't wait until summer starts to make these steps, to start focusing on these things. Because I'm telling you, if you follow this blueprint, you will feel unstoppable and you'll feel like a completely different person in all the most positive ways come June 21st.
Damn, it's almost summer.
That's a wrap.
That's a wrap.
All right. If you guys haven't, make sure you give us a rating and a review. And if you want to share this with someone, that would be pretty cool as well. So on that note, we hope that you have an awesome rest of your day. And we'll catch you in the next one. See ya.
Bye.